Yo. That's so dope. Oh shit. Oh, that is so dope.
Okay.
I'll play around with that.
Yeah. You got your tape on, Chris?
Nice.
We'll take just enough.
All right. Man. Are we live on everything?
Oh shit, I'm stepping on the phone.
Only what, 3 minutes late this time?
Not bad, not bad.
5 again?
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the 4th episode of GaronTime. I'm Christian Garon, and I'm here now. I'm here with Krish Deo. He's a kinesiologist. He's my kinesiologist, and he also offers various forms of treatment modalities. We're going to be talking about that today. He's going to be telling us about what he does and the business he owns, Kin Consulting. So let's get started. Let's thank you for letting us come here to the clinic.
Thank you for having me.
And so, who are you? What do you do?
As you mentioned, yeah, my name is Krish. I just go by Krish, so
Okay.
we just keep it at that. I'm a kinesiologist. I kind of, like a short backstory is I went to UFE, did my kines degree. I actually wasn't planning on doing this as my field of work. I was working at a supplement store for a few years. I think that's where
That's
I
why
met
we
you.
met each other. Was
Okay, it was a field, yeah.
Yeah.
And then I used to compete in a couple of things like powerlifting, and then
Right.
having gone through some injuries, I had kind of was put through the system of like the physio, the chiro, the massage, and it actually didn't help me at all. So the last thing I wanted to do was be a part of this. But what happened was
That's really funny.
yeah, no, because it just felt like a waste, and like I wasn't getting better, and it just felt like the same. Like everyone kind of like gave like it was a pretty messed up system where you just kind of go in, they put heat on you and pads on you, and then expect you to get better. And then what happened was I tore my pec, and then I went, and it was someone I graduated with that was actually treating me.
Okay.
And she started using different methods like laser, blading, cupping, and I was like, shit, we could do this, and it actually helped. So that's how I started getting into it, because I saw the opportunity, and it actually helped. So, yeah.
That's amazing. That's phenomenal. That's actually really funny that you didn't plan on getting
No,
into this.
not at all, man. Yeah.
So your title is a kinesiologist.
Yeah.
So that is a specific term, but at the same time, I have experience training for competitions and stuff like that. I've
Right.
met people who are kinesiologists, and it's also at the same time a very broad field. Like
It's
it can
so
mean
broad.
so
It's
many
so
different
broad.
things.
Yeah.
So tell us what a kinesiologist is first, and give us an idea of what this field is like.
Right. So kinesiology defined is the study of human movement. So it's the science behind movement. So it encompasses physiology, biomechanics, pretty much anything that has to do with our bodies, anatomy, and moving, like how that comes to fruit. So the physics behind it, the science behind it, the philosophy behind it.
Okay.
So with all that, there's subfields and everything. So there's health promotion, if we're going to talk about like the psychology behind it. There's the training performance side, there's the rehab side. So it's super broad. Most kinesiologists that work in the field, they work as like active rehab. So say you were in a car accident and you need to do rehab to get better. You would go from your ICBC claim, and you'd be given a kinesiologist who would like walk you through the rehab. So
Okay.
that's what typically what you'd see a kinesiologist doing.
Right.
That's the stuff where a kinesiologist gets coverage through like ICBC, so it's a more secure job. What I'm doing here, it's all private, so it's not like backed by ICBC
Right.
unless a lawyer is paying for their client to come here.
Okay.
So it's a little bit riskier, but it's a lot more fun because I'm like right there with the client, and it's more table work, which is
Well, and you get to do, running your own business. You get to do whatever you want to help
Totally.
your client too,
Totally,
right?
yeah.
I go to a physiotherapist clinic, and they have a kinesiologist there, but they're pretty confined to what that job is.
Absolutely,
and they're
yeah.
really just helping people train in the right
Yeah.
way. It's not that they're
Yeah.
not doing their job wrong, don't get me, but they're not doing anything outside of what the system lets them do or what
Totally.
the manager lets them do.
totally.
Yeah.
And I like that you brought up that point, because it's not necessarily the people that are like enforcing their way where they just think that training is the only way that they're gonna get better. It's literally they're confined by the rules or how the business is set up.
Right.
And most businesses are set up to take multiple people per an hour, and they're set up for like how much space they have, the equipment they have, and pretty much the skills they have. So they might want to do other things to get the client better, but they can't because they're confined to those. You need to see 3 clients, you only got 20 minutes per client, and they can't spend the hour that they want, and they don't have a choice for that. That's the clinic that's booking them. So
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I know that as a personal trainer, I had a weightlifting certification from
Right.
BCRPA
Yeah.
years and years ago, and I went through the same situation that many personal trainers go through. Is you start working at a gym and you aren't allowed to do anything.
Yeah,
Like they just,
pretty much.
it's like 3 sets of 10 with all of your clients. Go. Okay, well my client needs to power lift. 3 sets of 10. Go.
yeah.
You just don't. You get locked into a system.
Absolutely.
And, yeah. So.
And then you
I
lose
get that.
motivation too, because when you're working for like a big corporation or big clinic, like a trainer on their own can charge like 60 to like anywhere up to like 120 an hour.
Mhm.
So if you're working at a gym, they'll essentially, well, they don't even help find you clients. They're
pretty bad
They're
now.
supposed to help find you clients, and then what they do is the gym will charge $80 or whatever it is per hour, and then the trainer gets paid like $20 an hour, if that.
Yeah, the payment's getting bad.
And that's literally the same thing in the kines field. So most kinesiologists that enter the field, I'd say 9 out of 10 people that were in my grad class that were kin, they either went on to further education or they found a job in like a totally separate field. So no one really sticks around because the median wage of a kinesiologist is $16 an hour. So imagine going to
Gotcha.
school for 4 years and then coming out and it's like, here you get 16, or it's like you could do literally any other job with tips or something and make more.
The average server wage is 20 to 25. So.
Yeah, and like
That's
nothing
right.
against that, but it's
No,
like, I'm
yeah,
not bringing that down. I'm just saying for like you're
Yeah.
spending 30 grand, you'd want something out of it. There's no guarantee.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a different market when you have people regulating what you're doing, right? But
Absolutely.
if you can get out and do your own thing, be a little more creative, add to your skill set, you can definitely make a better life for yourself.
100%.
All right, so you own this clinic.
Yeah.
This clinic is called Kin Consulting. It's here in Abbotsford, British Columbia. Tell me about, I just saw you post this on Instagram, so you talked about the name that you came up with, Kin Consulting. So talk to me about that. Talk to
Okay,
us
so
about that.
kin, so if you're just thinking about it, kin is short for kinesiology, so there's a play on words there.
That's what I thought it was.
Yeah, yeah. I wish one of the guys I used to look up to is he's a bodybuilder, powerlifter, and he used to have a really catchy name, and he had his PhD in bio, so his name was Bio Lane, like his name was Lane Norton,
Oh, okay.
and then so his name was Bio Lane on all his like handles and stuff, and it was like
That's
pretty
perfect.
pretty cool, and like you would like kind of like draw the parallels, and so I'm
Yeah.
like King Krish, that kind of works. So,
Yeah.
and then what you were kind of getting at there before, kin also, like if you're filling out a form or a waiver, they'll ask you like who your next of kin is, because kin roughly translates to like relative or tribe or family.
Right.
So it's kind of like having like a close knit community also. So it's kin consulting. The goal is to develop a family of therapists or a family of professionals that you can come to, where it's like here's your kinesiologist, here's your naturopath, here's your blah, here's your this, and then we're all treated like a family of health. So there's multiple ways to kind of interpret it, but I like having that like the tribe aspect.
I think that's great because I'm seeing more people start to do it, but I think we still need more than ever people to build communities
Absolutely.
with people as opposed to just like people come in, you do this as a job and
Right.
you need to make money to
Totally.
treat people. Everybody needs to make money from what they do, but it's not just about having a dollar sign over
100%.
everybody's
Yeah,
head.
exactly.
It's about building a community
No.
and trust. Yeah.
And I know my limitations. Like there's stuff I can't do. Like I'm not legally allowed to do it, and I don't have the skill set to do it. So
Mhm.
if I can have a community of people that I can refer out to, that's better, because a client's gonna respect me more if I get them to someone who can get them better versus me trying to like bullshit my way and be like, no, I think this will work, or I think that will work. Like if I know that you need like an adjustment and I can't do it, then I'd rather have that guy on my team that I can refer to. So
Yeah.
for sure, because I think that's a big part in this industry is people have that scarcity mindset where they're afraid if they lose a client that they're not gonna make their ends meet,
Right.
So they hold on to that client and they have to see them once a week and they just hope that they're gonna get them better.
Yeah.
Whereas when I started, I was so scared that I wasn't gonna get someone better that like shit, if I knew someone was better than me or like had the skill set, I'd be like, you go and see them. And I wasn't afraid because there's so many people that have pain. Like 80% of people are gonna experience low back pain. So like the amount of people that I have potential to come in here, I'm not worried about like losing a client to someone else to get better. So, and that in turn will like it makes me look a lot better because I'm helping the people I know I can fix. So it's a win-win.
And you build a business community too, right?
Totally.
With the other people that are treating. Hopefully, I mean, I know. I have a doctor who has sent people to another doctor.
Yeah.
And that doctor has been like, oh yeah, don't go back to that doctor.
Yeah, no, I've
That's an
got
awful
some,
mindset.
I've got some funny stories. I actually had another physio report my Instagram, so
What?
I get a lot of hate. I get a lot of
Report
hate.
your
Yeah.
Instagram.
So you know on Instagram like you have like your biography.
Yeah.
So I think I make it pretty clear I'm a kinesiologist, like kin Krish, kin consulting.
Yes.
Like everything is kin. But when you make a business profile, you have to pick your business subcategory. And that's not something you write. You just pick whatever is close and it comes up gray underneath your name.
Sure.
And so there was no physical rehab. There was no kinesiologist option on Instagram. So the closest thing was physical therapist. So I picked physical therapist. I'm like, whatever, that's close enough. And if you Google define physical therapist, like kinesiologist comes up along with other like people in that field.
Yes.
But in BC, it's kind of in a way trademarked where only physiotherapists can use the word physical therapist.
Okay.
So only they can use that name, right? And so this was just on my Instagram, nowhere on my website, nowhere on my receipts, anywhere else do I have the word physical therapist.
Right.
And I didn't manually write it. It was just a category that I picked. So one day I get this mail and I go, it's urgent, and I open up and it's a printout of my Instagram and I'm like, oh, that's nice. Like, why is there a printout? And I go to the next page and it's from the board of Canadian Physical Therapy Association.
What?
And it's like, yeah, so we had an anonymous complaint that you've been like wrongfully using the title physical therapist. Please like take it off and then report it back to us immediately before any other things. And I'm like, who has the time? Like, who has the time? I was like, are you serious?
That's insane.
So I put it on my Instagram, obviously a story, and I'm like, whichever guy this is, like, do something with their life. And I changed it. I'm like, man, this is bullshit.
That's terrible. Yeah, because I mean, I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, no one, only a physiotherapist would know that's a thing. But that's a really targeted attack. Like, that's like,
Oh, totally.
to find like one little thing, and like on me, and it's like, contact the board, which they have to get the poor reception lady to write out a letter and then mail it out to me. And then all I had to do was just like right click change. It's like, you went through all that, it doesn't affect me at
Yeah,
all.
he could have sent you a DM. Honestly,
That's literally what I said.
Somebody
It's like,
could have
send me a
DM'd
DM.
you.
Yeah. I'll be like, all good, bro. I'll change it.
Yeah,
But that's crazy.
that is bad business. I would like to know who that is so I can shame them publicly.
Yeah, put them on blast. New segment of GaronTime.
Yeah, no doubt, right? Public
Blast,
shame.
just public shame.
I don't think that would go down well.
Oh,
Much
no,
too much
really
will get
well, really
reported.
well.
So I want to hit one of the GaronTime questions. Where are you from? Where are you born? Where'd you come from? Hometown? That kind of thing?
So my background, my ethnicity is I'm Fijian. So my parents were born in Fiji. Their parents.
Right.
So that's the background. I was actually born in Brampton, Ontario.
Oh, okay.
So that's where I'm from, but I was raised in Abbotsford. So like when people ask like where you from, like I usually just say Abbotsford because like this is where I grew up. Like I was here since I was 6. So
For sure. Yeah.
even though Brampton like was where I was born and I spent a little bit of time, like if I go to Brampton or like Ontario, like they know I'm cut from a different cloth. So.
you don't act the same.
Yeah,
way
I know.
as
Like
people,
they're different.
yeah.
We're different. Yeah, we're a bit more. We're
Yeah.
a bit more crazy over here.
Yeah, no, I know a lot of people can pick me out of a crowd too,
Yeah.
from being from Alberta. They're like, yeah, you did that to me yesterday when I was singing country music.
I think people with Alberta have a bit more personality. They're not much blended in, you know. But I don't know.
Wearing a cowboy hat and everything. That's what I always do. Do we have any questions so far? I don't want to cut any audience members off.
I have one actually.
Yeah,
Have you ever
Chris.
done bleeding or?
Bleeding?
Yeah.
No.
Bleeding?
Like by cupping?
Leeches?
Yeah.
Okay, so bleeding. Sometimes when people see a cupping, there's blood inside the cups.
Right.
So everything I do here is called dry cupping. There's no blood, but what Chris was referring to bleeding is when you pierce the skin a little bit and then you put the cups on. So over time that draws blood out of the muscle. So you know that dark purple blood that you see when you just regularly get cupped?
Yep.
According to the traditional Chinese medicine perspective, that's congested or bad blood. So
Okay.
by actually piercing the skin, you can get that blood out of the body. So it's like a full detox.
Okay.
That's their perspective. I practice out of a more Western perspective, where I'm more related to the muscles and less detox.
Sure.
But yeah, I don't do wet cupping. I'm curious to try it myself. There's people that swear by it, but
That's a good question,
Yeah.
Chris. I've never even heard of that.
I've had
before.
people ask me like, "Do you do wet cupping or can you like bleed?" I'm like, "No." Like if you have a pimple, if you have a pimple, like I'll put a cup on a pimple. If it pops, bro, like there we go.
Yeah,
there we go. There we go. And then I'm gonna have to rub it with alcohol after and all that stuff. But if you want wet cupping, I don't know, man.
That's awesome.
It's not my main thing. So
What inspired you to, so I think you kind of covered that, but if there's any other points you want to add to that, what has totally inspired you to get into this? If there's anything.
Yeah, no, I just like any profession where it's you're educating and giving people power. And I think this is a perfect way because in this industry, therapists are kind of messing. Like there's tons of good therapists, but I wanted to help people get power of their own bodies because what happens is like say you come to me and like you have anatomy knowledge, right? But most people don't. Like general pop doesn't, right?
Yeah.
So they come to me and if I start throwing around big words like yeah your disc is misaligned or like like C3 or like I just start listing things off, right?
Yeah.
Every sense of power you had over your problem, I've taken away from you. So now you're like, hey, I'm hopeless. This chiro has to align my spine. Like I can't do that on my own. So I have to see this guy once a week. And that's so wrong because like just a change of terminology from me saying like, look, we need to bring more integrity to your back. Like then it's like, hey, like I can just strengthen my back and the problem will go away. And you treat it the same, but I find there's so many therapists that are operating out of that like scarcity mindset where they're like they need to see these people, where they use that terminology and people keep going and you see people go to chiros or like other professions, and I'm not taking shots at chiros.
No, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
For like years and nothing's changing, and it's because the change has to come from some of the therapists, me giving you the tools,
Yeah.
and then you doing it because it's your body, your lifestyle, your bad movement patterns. So I think that's what really got me into it is knowing that I can give people that power back.
Yeah.
And that's a pretty because when someone comes back and they're like, yeah, I can train again, or like I'm in charge of my body, and you've given them something that they can take on their own and they can impart into other people. That's a pretty crazy position to be in my opinion. Like I like that a lot.
Yeah, and that's great because I'm very lucky. Like I have a swath of people treating my body because I have chronic pain disorder, right?
Right.
But like I have a chiropractor here in the city, a physiotherapist, an RMT. I've got you,
Right.
and a naturopath, and everybody that I deal with is really good. Like they're
Right.
very similar to you in the sense that they're helping educate me, but I've been through the bad ones,
Right.
where, and I don't stay very long. They'll say something, and I'm like, well, it doesn't feel right,
Yeah.
or I'll walk out and be like, something's off.
Right.
And I'll go. like you said, I have a bit of that knowledge, so
Yeah,
I'll go
yeah.
home. If I don't know what's going on, I'll just look it up.
Yeah,
Like, I'll
exactly.
just check on
Yeah.
it, and I run into those cases where they're not giving the right information,
Right.
or whatever, they're dodging something.
Totally.
Yeah. So yeah, no, that's great.
Is that a
Fantastic.
question?
Question for you.
Yeah.
The kinesiologist asked, what certifications are you looking to achieve next?
So there's a few. One that I'll be taking in a few weeks or a month is called NKT. So before I answer that question, I think some good background would be, so in the program of kinesiology itself, you're pretty much given broad knowledge. So you don't actually come out with a certain skill set like how you would within a trade.
Okay.
So you don't actually know like anything that you can start working on people. So if you have a friend that's in like say kin school or like doing their degree, all this stuff they won't know because you do this after the degree. The degree gives you the ability to seek out what you want to like specialize in.
It's a foundation.
It's a foundation. Like it sets the base. You learn the language, which is anatomy, so then you can start talking with people
Right.
who teach these certifications. So like cupping, blading, those are things I've done. To answer that question, what I want to do next is something called NKT, and that's translates to neurokinetic techniques, and that's assessing firing patterns with your brain and your muscles, because those are so highly related, and you can fall into like such bad like motor patterns, and which are like movement patterns, and this is it's pretty much a system on how to assess if your brain's causing these faulty mechanisms and how to address it from a neurological standpoint so you can see it like physically.
That's
So then it's yeah. So then it's not just me like bashing a or softening up a tight muscle. It's me
Right.
getting to it from the brain. Like, why is the brain constantly keeping this tight?
Yeah.
And then addressing it like that. So I'll be doing that late April. That's the next one, and then I'm just taking like a taping course, and every year I take a few courses just to like
Sure,
keep
you
my
got
mind
it.
fresh.
You have. Do you have? Are you in a situation where you have to keep building credits or keep maintaining credits?
Totally.
Yeah.
So you, as a kinesiologist, you have to keep a certain amount of credits to maintain your status. But like the cupping I did in Alberta, I didn't get any credits for because it's not recognized in BC. In Alberta it is, and for kinesiologists it's not recognized. So like
Oh,
me
man.
going there was like all on my own money. I didn't get any credits for it, no recognition for it, like nothing from my governing body. So like
Yeah.
even though that's there, like that's not a motivating thing for me to learn more at all. Like I just learn more because it's just like it helps people.
Yeah, for sure. I'm going to personally thank you for stepping outside of what you need for credits to do cupping, because that therapy was phenomenal for me. I mean,
Sweet.
it was amazing. I was unnerved at how much had changed when I
Yeah.
walked out that day, because not that any other therapy is bad, but it's different. Like when I got the cupping done, it just kind of happened. There wasn't a muscle twitch
Right.
or a spasm or a soreness. It was just gone.
Right.
Right? Like I was walking around that day and I was like, why isn't there any pain anymore?
It just like eats you.
Yeah,
Like,
it was
in a good way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it was just so different,
Yeah.
right? So that was great. Any other questions? Chris? Let's talk a little bit about your powerlifting. You were involved in powerlifting. Are you still involved personally as a powerlifter?
So I still train that style. So I'll do some like heavy deadlifts and squats and stuff like that. I'll still throw up some numbers and stuff, but I don't compete anymore.
Okay.
Not to say I won't. I've just spent a lot of time. It's a growing sport. It's been growing like crazy. So there's a lot of people who want to get in. They just don't know how. And there's not a lot of coaches. So I happen to be in the position, because I've competed before, that I can kind of help people get introduced to the sport. So I've been coaching for the last almost four or 5 years now for powerlifting.
Wow.
So
That's amazing.
and it's usually like first time or second time lifters. Although I've coached some like national like level like lifters too. But it's usually the people that are getting into it. And I would feel weird personally competing and coaching, because there's not a lot of meets, and I'd be up against the people I'm coaching, and I would just be like, it'd be like, do this, and then I come and destroy you after. So it's just like
Yeah, because you're no small powerlifter. I've watched some of your stuff. You were hauling some heavy weight. Yeah.
yeah, back
Well
back
done.
in the day, yeah.
Well
Yeah,
done.
for sure.
What is your greatest obstacle what is the greatest obstacle that you've encountered so far as a kinesiologist building this business, or what is the greatest obstacle you're still encountering?
It's just myself. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like I have a like business is something else. There's no book. Like, you know, you can go to school and you can study business, but like really if you could learn business, then people could take a business degree and grow a super successful business. You don't see that happening. Like not everyone that takes it has like a successful business, right? So everything for me and the way I started was just out of my house. So learning everything from like taxes to bookkeeping to the infrastructure around business, from like I don't know, like sanitation to like everything outside of just the field itself. It's just been like so much learning, and that is so overwhelming when you're in charge of your own marketing, when you're in charge of like keeping your skills together, when you're in charge of managing your money, like all that stuff. Like it comes at you and you start to feel like, is this right for me? Like, should I just work as a kid and then like keep that, like, you know, and just enjoy that part, or should I take on all this extra like overhead and stress and stuff? So mentally it puts you in a weird state, because you're working a lot more than like just the hour I spend with the client. Like it's way more than just the hour that I'm here with the client, right?
Yeah.
So it's not so much like problems I come across as a kinesiologist. it's more just like overcoming that, like, and in some cases it's just fear, because like as things start to get bigger, you don't know how to address it. Like things get bigger. Say I start like making more, then taxes come in. Like I've never dealt with this kind of stuff before, so I'm just like, what am I supposed to do? And like these are problems that are all new. There's no book on it. Like, you know, there's people that can help, but it's just, especially when you do things in such a unique way that's like, you don't even know what you want. It's just scary sometimes. and I think that's the hardest part is coming over, is just getting over your own fear and anxiety, because you're like, maybe I should just keep it at this level, but then there's that little like bit inside you where it's like, hey, I need to push because I need to keep growing, and then you're almost scared to grow because you're like, I don't know how to deal with the problems ahead. Right. So I think that's the hardest part, is like, just myself is my biggest enemy at this point.
Okay.
So
yeah, no, I definitely, I think a lot of people will understand that, right? In whatever field they're in, if they have to push themselves out there to do something. For sure. Yeah, if they're not just going to a job every day, it gets a little more, it can be really vitalizing to do your own thing, but
100%.
It requires that little extra, you know, get the anxiety out of your head to get by it.
And there's no reward for it initially.
No,
so there's nothing. It's not like, hey, I'm gonna push more and then I'm gonna get paid more. It's like, I'm gonna push more and then like I'll just keep what I have, and then you gotta push more, and like you don't even know if like it's gonna come, right? But you just have to keep going and going and going, and eventually it comes.
Yeah.
But
you worked out. How long have you had this clinic for?
This actual space, I had acquisition September 22nd.
Okay.
So not that long.
Before that, were you out of somebody's home?
Yeah, I was renting space out of my parents' home.
Okay.
And before that, I was out of my own apartment. And before that, I was driving to people's houses.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. So how many years? How long have you been doing this for?
So I started doing like just my very first certification was soft tissue release, which is more just stretch. And I was doing that in 2014, so like 3 or 4 years ago. And that's when I would just drive to people's house.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then I didn't do it full time. I just did it part time.
Right.
And then just over a year ago is when I started doing it on the weekends when I wasn't at work. And then eventually it got to the point where the weekends were full and people wanted to do the weekdays, but I was at work. So then I had to make the decision, like, hey, I have to kill my 5-6 days at work for 2 days of this. And that was like the scariest decision of my life.
Oh, I bet it was.
Yeah,
terrifying.
Because like I live on my own, I have my own bills and stuff, and I went from making like a few K a month to like not even 1K a month, like just 600 a month. So that was scary as shit.
Yeah, absolutely. I work 7 days a week right now, but I mean, I have no plans to leave the jobs anytime soon, obviously.
Totally.
But I think, you know, there's got to be a point where I too have
100%.
I need some days to do something.
Exactly.
At this time, I don't know when that's going to be, but it is a terrifying thought in my head.
But that necessity to like meet your ends is what pushes you forward. I feel like if I waited and waited, or like if I didn't have that pressure to make ends meet, and if it wasn't like I took that huge hit, I wouldn't have been like so like driven to make it work, because I had no choice. Like obviously my parents were there, and like I'm not gonna end up homeless, but you don't think like that. You think like, hey, like I need to make it. Like no one likes.
You don't want to go back home.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. And you don't like watching your savings just go away. And like, you know, like you want to be in that growth mindset, right?
Yeah,
so
sure.
it pushes you to do a lot. So, hey, what's up?
Colin Goda, I believe, asks, what courses would you recommend a kinesiologist to take to treat clients more effectively?
Okay, so a kinesiologist, I would recommend them to take a massage course. Yeah. Like any kind of intro to massage, even if it's like a Swedish massage or anything. Because as a kinesiologist, we learn a lot about movements and patterns and like big picture things. Right. But like massage is really good in the sense where if you take a course, they're going to teach you the basics of just how to relax your client, how to properly like cover and uncover your client, like draping, etiquette because you're touching a client. It's a lot more intimate what massage is. Okay. But it'll help you ease the client a lot better. Because kinesiology is just like you just get in there and you start working. And I had a client that came in for a massage just the last week, and they came in to see, like I have a massage therapist that works in here, and he was like, yeah, I used to see a kin, but it was just too much. Like, it was too brutal. Like, he just put the blade in my back, and I'm like, oh no, like, it's like that kin totally messed it up. And in my head, I'm just thinking, great, like, he's totally put off from it.
Yeah.
But if that kin had some like background and like how to ease that client into it and how to like get them,
Right.
I think a kin, the most valuable certification is a certification that's outside a kin, because then it gives them more perspective. So
That's a
one
great way to think
of
about
the
it,
courses I took was just the intro to massage course, and it just taught the basics of massage. And every time I start my session, I start with just the basics of massage, just to ease them down, and then I go into my specialty, which is the kin.
Right. Cool. Yeah. He's good on that.
VBar12 asks, are you thinking about expanding anytime?
So are you thinking about expanding the business, I'm assuming?
Business,
yeah.
I would assume.
Yeah, so I just hired another kin, and I'm expanding on that. You know how I mentioned how most kins do the ICBC side of things?
Right. Yeah.
Because I've been starting to develop a name out here, a few lawyers and doctors have been trying to send me their clients for the ICBC.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, totally. And I've been turning them down because I haven't had that agreement with ICBC. Like, I'm not set up to do it.
Yeah.
So now I'm just like, I'm pretty much set up to do it. So I just hired someone else who can help me with that.
Okay.
So I'm expanding in that sense. I'm not going to build more clinics. Not yet, at least.
Yeah.
But
But here in the clinic, right?
here, yeah, I'm going to have more people that take on that rehab side of things.
Oh, good.
Because I know, like, they a lot of people don't get into that because the pay is so low and all that stuff. But I'm going to see if I can, like, because I have the freedom to operate how I want, I'm going to see if I can change that. See if, like, giving that kin more freedom, and if they do a better job, allowing them more, like, you know, compensation. I'm going to see if that actually changes things. So, because I have the freedom to play with it now. So I'm expanding that way. More kins. And as far as the clinic goes, I probably won't do more clinics because that's a lot of overhead. And then
Yeah.
I just started dipping into merchandising and stuff like that, so that's pretty fun. So I'll
Yeah,
expand
yeah.
that way.
Maybe I'll pop out when you're setting Chris up. Maybe I'll pop out and grab one of your hoodies there and show he's got some products and merch and stuff like that. So, so you kind of actually that answered one of the questions I was going to ask you, which is what you do, what you're planning on doing next.
Right.
But I got 2 more questions for you in the GaronTime.
Sweet.
What's your favorite thing about doing this?
I don't know.
Do you
There's
have
so
one
much.
favorite
There's
thing?
so much. I feel like I've always loved interacting with people. Like it's just so fun, like meeting new people and just talking, getting people's stories. And you're here like at least an hour with someone, so and you're dealing with that person's body, so you know people start bringing up stories and things that, like, you know, they might not have told someone else.
Right.
So you get to know people really well. That's probably one of my favorite things. And when someone is relieved from pain that's been holding them back, when they can express that to you, that's like nothing beats that.
Yeah.
I remember like when I was nervous about what I was doing, I wasn't sure if it was right, or like I had a lady call me, and I'll never forget this. And she had sent her brother in, so she had booked an appointment for her brother, and then she called me after I'd worked on the brother, and she was like, hey, I just want to let you know that like so and so, this is the first time he's been playing with my kids since his injury, like he's actually lifting my kids up. And like I was just like, yeah, this guy wasn't able to play with his niece and nephew because he was in so much pain. He had never been able to like pick her up since they were born, right? And this was the first time that they were like playing, and I was like, I had a hand in that, right? And I was like, shit, and that was just like, that was just deep, right? Because like, like
it's like a heartbreaking thing to hear, and then you know having that change and you involved in that.
Because you don't realize that when people walk in, you don't know the pain that they're going through. I never know the pain. They don't tell you. They're not gonna tell you like this is how much limited. They might a little bit, right? But not the truest, deepest. Like when they're at the worst, right? They hold that. They're embarrassed, right?
Yeah.
So like when you can get them like at that point better, like that's. Like people always used to say you probably love it when someone hits a PR after they come back to you, and PR is like when they hit a like new personal best. Like that's great, but you're already like functioning well, and you're just at your peak now, which is like fantastic. I'm so happy for you. But when someone like can't even do basic things like play with their kids and stuff, and you can get them to that, like that's quality of life. And if you can improve someone's quality of life, like it's not about the money at the end of the day. Like nothing. That's fulfillment, not satisfaction. Like that stays with you.
That's phenomenal. I can't even imagine what that's like to feel. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, just feeling, man. Yeah.
I kind of like get a little
Yeah.
shiver just hearing you
Yeah.
talk about that, right?
And,
Like,
and that's why I think I'm gonna burn out with this job is because like, it feels like you just keep chasing it, right? Like and everyone's like, and you know, like someone will call me like, yo, my neck's like kinked up. Like, can you get me in? And I've already worked like 10 hours, but I know like
yeah, Justin. I heard about that.
oh shit! Yeah.
He told me about that, not you.
And like if you know you can like fix someone, like it's hard to say no. Like you know, it's
Yeah.
like having a drug that can cure someone and you're holding it back. Like you
Yeah.
feel like a bad person, so you're like, okay, no, I'm gonna do it. And then at the end of the day, you work like a bunch. So, is there another question?
Yes, Colin Goda says thank you for one. And two, it's a question about equipment. I'm going to add in a little bit too.
Sure.
They're asking, what equipment do you use?
Where,
To make it a little bit easier, I don't know how much equipment you do have. What's the equipment that you use the most, and which one's the one that you use the least?
Ooh, okay.
And we're gonna get to see a bit of it too.
Yeah, so we are gonna do like a little live treatment, so I could like talk about the equipment as I use it. I
Let's
use
do that after.
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah. But yeah, just briefly, what I would use the least is like any kind of like electrical equipment, like tens or like I have a percussor, which is pretty much like a vibrating handheld gun thing, and it just like sends like vibration through. So I use that a little bit just to ease up muscle tension. I don't use it a lot. I feel like using your hands can like help the client better.
Right.
The tool that I use the most, I use everything pretty equally within the blades and the cups and stuff. You know, it's yeah. There's not a specific one. People see the cups the most because they leave marks.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing I can really market. I can't market like a person had a massage after they've gotten a massage. Like you can't just take a picture and there's nothing proof for it. So people think
Look at his beautiful skin after
look at his
the
beautiful
massage.
skin, like he looks like he feels good, right? So but that's all I'm known for now is cupping.
Yeah.
It's just brutal.
That's a cupping man.
No, but I was outside the gym. This
Yeah.
girl comes up to me and she's like, "Hey, are you?" And I'm expecting her to say like, "Are you Krish?" And she's like, "Are you that cupping guy?" And I'm like, I was like, what?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, sure, whatever. Yeah, book on.
You've got compression therapy pants and sleeves.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm going to be getting that done in a couple weeks from you.
For
So I'm
sure.
excited about that.
Was there one more you said?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just when I raise, if I raise my hand,
Sure.
Yeah,
you,
go ahead.
you don't have to
Oh,
immediately.
okay, okay.
Don't worry.
Yeah, it's just cut him off. Oh, Marvin's taking control over here.
Colin Good is also asking if you are bringing anything new into your
Tool set.
any new tools, any new equipment.
Yeah, there's one. This is pretty crazy. I'm waiting to get a quote from the guy. I don't know how expensive this is going to be. This is within our scope, but no one's doing it out here. It's called PEMF. It's pulsed electromagnetic frequencies. So pretty much there's this box, and it's an electron box. So I would hold the box, and whatever I touch on you would activate that muscle because it guides electrons through me, and so I'd be grounded.
I've seen it
You've
before.
seen it?
Yeah. I've seen
And
it.
it's crazy. So like, say someone has like a bunch of scar tissue, like they're like, say they took a really bad fall and they're all bruised up like crazy.
Yeah.
Normally it would take like weeks and weeks to heal, and with this stuff, because you're guiding the electrons right away, they heal within like days. And you can take someone with Parkinson's, and they have like before and afters. Their hand will be shaking like this, like when they're trying to drink.
Yeah.
Within after like 20 minutes of like application, they'd be like this, like a little bit of shake. So I'm applying to get it because it's within
Yeah.
my scope, and like it's insane. And like areas that are like dead tissue or tissues that aren't as active,
Mhm.
they won't have as much water in them, or they won't conduct as much. We like anytime we flex a muscle, it's through like sodium and potassium in our muscles.
Yeah.
So we're pretty much electrical people. So if I were to touch a muscle or like guide something on you, and all of a sudden like everything would twitch with this machine. Although if I go over a certain muscle, it would stop, and that would tell me, it'd be like a diagnostic tool that this muscle here needs work done because it's not receiving that signal.
Right.
So then what I could do is like I'll unground myself, and then I can like work into that muscle, release it, and then go back and see if it starts to shake again, and if it conducts better.
That's
So-
amazing. So that's a phenomenal diagnostic tool. I mean, for it
It's
to
insane.
Just, to
It's
just tell
insane.
you that it's like, oh hey, problem.
Yeah.
Problem. That's where the
Yeah.
problem is. That's
If you
great.
see it, it's insane because you could touch like any muscle and it'll just start like flexing. Like it's crazy.
Yeah. Holy crap! Yeah, that's cool.
So, yeah, that's something I want to look into.
What can we do to help you get that? Real fast.
Kickstarter, I'm gonna need a lot of money. Set that up, link in your bio. Probably like 100K or something.
Wow, that's awesome. So you have another person who's working here at the clinic. You think you'd be okay with giving a shout out to him? Tell him.
Yeah, so I have 2 student therapists.
Okay.
So these are massage therapists. So as students, they can buy student insurance and they can practice. So I have 2 student therapists that come on the weekends. One is Mike Breon, and then one is Kim Graywall. So maybe I could like give them the names or Instagram handles or something and get tags them or something like that.
Yeah.
So there's those 2. In the clinic itself, I have a lady that does laser. So she does like laser hair removal and photo rejuvenation and that kind of stuff.
Okay.
So because a lot of my clientele is like fitness, that kind of caters to the more the aesthetic side of things. So
Yes.
like being getting that kind of treatments done is there. So there's that and then yeah, I just brought on that extra kin for the active rehab, but that hasn't been like set yet. So it's a couple weeks from going.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. We had when I got treatment from you last time, we had a little chat about Dragon Ball. You're a big Dragon Ball fan.
Huge.
I am too. Santos is. Marvin, are you a Dragon Ball fan?
Not any of the new stuff. I haven't watched any of it.
Oh.
But I watched a lot of the old stuff.
Missing.
That's good enough. That's
bruises.
good enough.
I'll show you some of the tools, bro.
So, so you love Dragon Ball. Do you like any other anime?
Yeah, so like Dragon Ball is probably one of my favorites. I watched Berserk too. That was pretty. I don't know if anyone.
Oh, I like Berserk. Yeah, that was a good one.
Berserk's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
And then I don't know if this is anime, but it's more like mainstream. But Digimon was pretty sick too.
Digimon was awesome.
Yeah. Like Pokemon, like the you collected more of the cards, but Digimon, like the characters that they talked and like. Black War Greymon was just sick. Like he was just sick. Like he had so much character development, right? So I don't know, like.
I remember watching the first, the initial group. I can't remember how many seasons it's been, but the initial group of Digimon characters.
Yeah.
And by the end, it's kind of like Yu-Gi-Oh! By the end of that arc,
Yu-Gi-Oh's one of them too.
yeah, by the end of that arc, you're like, my heart and my eyes, I'm tearing up.
Yeah.
Like there's so much emotion and so much good storytelling there. It's a great show.
No,
Did they also do like the adult version of Digimon that came out?
They just started that
Digimon
not too long
Try,
ago,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, where they're all grown up.
really.
They're like in their teens or
Okay,
I gotta
need
watch
to
that, yeah.
Do you have questions, baby? Facebook, where's all my Facebook questions tonight? That's okay.
Chris is here, that's why.
Chris is behind us. What timeline are we at right now?
17.
17 minutes in?
7:17.
7,
10 minutes.
Started a bit late.
14 minutes.
4, okay, we're
Yeah.
I was like, man, that's a long 17
Yeah,
minutes.
that goes super fast.
Information fast.
Wow.
So why don't we get set up right away then, and then Instagram and Twitch I think only last for an hour. So we'll get set up and we'll get Chris's shirt off. Don't worry, platforms. He has nipple tape. He has yellow nipple tape to guard his nipples, so don't shut us off. I'll let you guys get set up.
Which is good. You're allowed to show like male nipples.
Now? They wouldn't let you before,
They can.
but not female.
No, of course.
Wait,
So they removed they added back
Thanks,
in the
Christian.
double standard. Good job, Twitch. Very progressive of you.
Thank you. It's not for nothing.
Hi.
One of my friends is a fitness
Fashion
streamer,
press.
which we always have a shirt on.
Oh my gosh. Yeah,
Gets
of
the
course,
views,
right?
eh?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so only the fit people get to
Alright,
not
so
have
okay,
nipple
yeah.
tape.
That's pretty much how it
Right
goes.
here.
Yeah, I'll actually get you to just have a seat first.
Okay.
So usually when a client comes, I gotta ask them a few questions, just to make sure there's no problems or anything that I can't work on you, and anything that's important. So are you taking any medications or anything like that? Right now?
No.
Thank you. This is all supposed to be super private stuff, so it's just like
He's one of the
everybody
guys.
to know. Any like recent fractures or dislocations in the shoulders or like upper fracture?
Nothing major, no.
Nothing major. Okay. Do you have a current like claim going on with ICBC?
No, not at all.
Nothing like that.
No.
Okay. Nothing that'll get me in trouble.
No.
Okay.
It's okay. He signed a form for me once saying I could do anything I want with him. So
Anything.
yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
All right, let's go.
It's actually in that contract. So.
Okay.
Just
And,
for that one day.
and so you were saying that you were feeling some discomfort up in your traps here,
Yeah, and the
Um,
shoulders, and then I guess the middle
middle
back.
of your back.
On the left side, yeah.
Okay. And when you were saying shoulders, where do you mean by shoulders? Like here, here in the front, side.
Not the front, more, I
More
guess
in
you could
the
say
upper.
the neck
Okay. Cool.
traps area.
So what we'll do is we'll do a mixture of like some like light manual therapy techniques, which is like a little bit of massage, some blading in here, and then we'll kind of cup up this area. So we'll start with you with your face against the mask here,
Okay.
and then just laying down. Are you comfortable there?
Yep, I'm good.
Just let me know if you feel any pain when I'm pressing these spots. Any pain?
No.
Someone here said he's got tight pecs, pulling everyone forward, pulling everything forward.
Who was that?
MK.
Yeah, okay, it's Mike. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mike's one of the guys who's a student therapist here. So
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So that's funny. So we're gonna start with applying some of the cream here. So basically, what kind of cream we use is just like a hypoallergenic, just basic cream. It's not gonna cause any irritations. This is gonna be a little bit cold, okay?
Yep.
So take a deep breath in and out. So right now we're just spreading the cream. And with this, what I'm trying to do is I'm just trying to feel out his back, see if there's areas that are a bit more bumpy than others. If my fingers start to catch, then I'll know that might be a bit of a tighter area. You can kind of see just with him laying, his left side is a bit lower, his right side is a bit higher, so he might favor his right arm a little bit. You right-handed?
Yes, I am.
So do you ever get any like shooting pains or anything down your hands, or?
No, not at all, actually.
I think that's good.
Just started on my right shoulder, actually, last week.
Okay.
Yeah. for the
Right about
first
into
time.
here, eh?
Yeah.
Okay.
More on my arm, I guess you could say.
Oh, okay. So we're gonna put a little bit of oil. What we're gonna start with is something called massage cupping. Have you ever had cupping done before?
I have not.
Okay.
Always wanted to.
So this is one of the tools. It's a silicone massage cup, and this is gonna imitate pretty much what a massage does. But instead of me pressing down into the skin, this cup is gonna create a vacuum effect, and it's gonna pull the tissue up. So we're gonna apply it here, and then we anchor the body down, and we pull up. So what's that feel like?
Just something that I've never felt before.
Good answer.
Yeah.
Not the right answer, though.
So some people would tell me that it feels like magnets. It feels
Yeah.
like I hate saying these because it gives people weird impressions, but it feels like a fish sucking on you.
That would make sense.
Yeah, I like saying magnets because that makes it sound a little bit better.
Magical.
But actually, it feels kind of relaxing because it's affecting the tissue similar to massage, but it's not putting too much pressure into you.
Yeah, like it's sucking it, but it's not as a painful one either.
Right. So, as you can see with this, if I were to massage an area and I put pressure, you see it still stays fairly white. But if I were to put a cup on there and go back and forth, it's almost like a paintbrush. You see how red that gets? We're getting blood flow to the muscle a lot quicker with the cups than we would with just pressing into with massage. So it's very effective in just loosening up the skin. It's kind of like I'm painting his back with blood. Flow. Not blood. Make it sound like I'm killing it. It's kind of like I'm painting his back.
His back is my canvas.
His back is my canvas.
My cupping canvas.
Alright, so we're just going to reapply a bit of lotion. So that wasn't painful at all, right?
No.
Okay, so what we're going to do is a little bit of blading. So this is one of my instruments. It's a medical steel, and it's just going to help break down some tight areas. Alright, this is going to be cold, okay?
Yeah.
Very cold. How we doing here?
Good.
Any pain so far?
No.
So I'll ask you every now and then, like 1 to 5 on pressure, how it feels. 5 is like you're holding your breath. 3 is like nice deep pressure but no pain. 4 is in between there, and then 1 is like you don't feel anything at all. There shouldn't be pain, but you should feel some pressure. So where would you say you are right now?
Probably like a 2, 3.
Okay, perfect. 3 is kind of where we want to be. How we doing inside of here in the middle of your back?
They're probably like 3.
Okay. This area can be a bit more sensitive, the traps. When people stress, they tend to hike up their shoulders and get a bit more sensitive up into here. Doing okay there?
Yeah.
That's about a 4 now?
Yeah.
Okay. But it's kind of like a good pain, right?
Yeah.
It's lying to me. It's unbearable. So I'm just gonna flip over here and get this side a little bit. So for the people that's watching, we would spend a lot longer on every part of this. So we'd spend more time with the cups, more time with the blades. But for the filming sake, we're just doing an intro of everything here, so don't judge me.
This is really cool to see as opposed to
Getting it done, right?
Just getting it done. Yeah, this is kind of. I didn't know that that's the tool you were using on my back.
There's a few. There's a lot of tools. We're gonna use a couple.
Nice.
How we doing in here on this side?
I can feel there's more pressure there.
Totally. So it's a very subtle difference, but on this side, his shoulder blade's a bit more flat, and on his right, it's a bit more lifted up. So as Mike was mentioning in Instagram, with the shoulder being rounded forward, what it does is it pulls the shoulder blade here up. So everything around the shoulder blade here will feel like he'll have knots sometimes when he's sitting for long periods of time. So he'll feel like it's kind of dull pain here sometimes. Do you get that sometimes?
From time to time, yeah.
If it's like a very long, if you're just sitting, you might get agitated around here. And just bear with me for a little bit. We're just gonna do this for about 10 seconds. Doing okay?
Yeah.
Good. Right, nice tight spot in here. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Don't try this at home. It's illegal.
It's illegal.
There's too many people doing this. They see it and they try it at home. But don't try this at home. I'm gonna come and sue you. My sister's a lawyer. I'm not kidding.
Mike says he's still watching, and he says thanks for the shout out, by the way.
Anytime. This is like so relaxing for me to do. Like I feel like it decreases my anxiety just working on people. Any pain with this here?
No.
It's something just about kneading through muscle, like it just, I don't know, it's just relaxing for me. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to start cupping up a couple areas up on the back here. So this is the cool part. This is where we actually put the cups on and leave them. So you'll start to see, this is the stuff that causes marks. So there's different types of cupping. There's fire cupping, which is what traditional practitioners use. And they'll have a bigger glass cup and then a stick of fire here. And then what they'll do is they'll warm up inside the cup and then put the cup on. So as the air starts to cool, the skin will rise. Alright, so these cups are going to feel a little bit cold when I put them on, and they're going to pinch for about a minute, okay? After about a minute, they won't pinch. They'll in there.
No.
So right now we're just putting it on his spinal erector. So these are the muscles that are involved with bending and picking up objects. And you'll see with time these cups start to get really red, and that's blood coming to the surface. So there's different
Looks cool.
suctions for different types of cups. These cups vary in size, pressure. So we're gonna do his traps here. These ones are gonna feel really tight, but they'll release in about a minute also, okay? but you will feel these ones a lot more because this is where you hold most of your tension. So we're gonna get right on the top of the trap.
It's a tension holder.
It's a tension
Yeah.
holder.
Two questions?
Or two.
Oh,
Just in case you want to say something.
sure. I will. I'll probably turn it back on. Hi, Cody.
You doing okay there?
Yeah.
Definitely feel it though, eh? A little bit?
I can, yeah.
I just want to give a quick shout out to Santos and Marvin. You guys, I'm watching the screens. You guys are doing a phenomenal job filming. This is fantastic. Thank you.
Yeah, you know.
So these two are gonna feel the tightest. This is getting close to the muscles known as the subox. These muscles are notorious for causing headaches in people if they get tight. So people that have seated positions, the back of your neck can get tight and it'll cause tension headaches that go from the back of your head to the side of your head. So by putting the cups here, it can help decrease the tension on your neck. And we'll just put two more right in the belly of the rotator cuff area.
Are you okay on answering some questions?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So what is the video in?
Oh no, that's okay.
I'm gonna save it and then start it again.
Sure. How the neck one's doing a tiny bit less now, right?
Yeah.
So we're gonna leave that on for about 5 minutes or so. I'm actually gonna put a little bit of heat on you too. So we're just gonna put some heat on while the cups are there. This is an infrared heat. So the type of heat is actually it's a type of laser, and what it does is it penetrates within the skin. So it helps with tendons, bone. It helps get blood flow to those deeper areas. Some yoga studios use a very diluted version of this type of infrared heat in the studios on the ceilings there, so
Right.
it helps people relax better. Yeah. But this is more concentrated, so you can only put this on a specific body part for about 20 minutes, or you can get radiation. Which is weird, because I work with this all day, so I wonder what's happening to me.
Superpowers.
I've heard it's pretty fair. It's
Yeah.
Not, yeah, for sure. Yeah. No, that's okay. Yeah.
It'll take a little bit of time for this.
Questions? Questions?
So then, okay then?
Yeah.
There was questions, but it ended.
Oh.
So I couldn't get to them.
Oh.
There was just one. Somebody said that they wanted to get that done. A few other. One guy said, "End this live and start my article."
Oh shit! Yeah, I'm supposed to write an article for a magazine.
It's fine. It ended, so they don't know that you're.
You did end it then.
There you go. There you go. Listen to him. I don't want to do it. Definitely don't want to do it. It's a pedorthics magazine. It's about foot and stuff. I was like, I don't want to do it.
All right, you're live on everything again.
Cool.
And you got a Snapchat from somebody.
Oh no.
Oh no.
No, no.
Snapchats at this time of night. They're not good ones, man. It's interesting, eh? So sometimes we'll get areas that are more purple than actually like a nice rose pink color. And purple is the sign of more proteins coming to the surface. So if there's actual proteins, then it's more congested. It could be a tighter muscle.
Can you tell if he's been drinking more than he should?
If there's if there's discoloration, you can tell, cause like you'll have like really splotchy areas.
Okay. How you feeling, Chris?
Oh, tight but good.
I thought he was
Thank you
like,
for
no.
being our dummy remote.
No way.
Because he didn't respond.
It should start to feel real nice after a little bit there, once it starts to loosen up a bit.
Keith is going to be really disappointed that he didn't get to have this done today.
Where does it feel the tightest? The ones right at the top of the neck there?
Yeah, and for the middle of the back too.
This one, right?
Yeah.
It hasn't fallen yet, eh?
So So Bambo
that's not a
says,
river.
can you do something for a pinched nerve in the lower back? I can barely sit.
Yeah, so it depends on why it's pinching. But usually what you can do is some traction. So if we lightly pull on the low back, we can decompress the spine and help alleviate some of that pinch sensation. So it's hard to tell unless I test the person to see what's kind of contributing to the pinch nerve. It could be muscle, it could be alignment, it could be something that's kind of just stuck together. So depending on like what I feel and like how they show on some tests, usually I can help with impinging nerves for sure.
Kayla is asking, when you take the cups off, how are those areas sensitive, and how sensitive?
They're not sensitive at all. In very, very tight areas, it might be a little bit sore the next day, kind of like how you'd feel after a workout.
Right.
But they're not bruises, it's just blood coming to the surface. So if I touch them after and they're red, they don't hurt at all. It just looks like a bruise, but it's not.
And I've had this done, and I can say the same thing. You don't feel it. It's they're not sensitive.
How long does redness stay?
So it depends. First time, it's usually about 7 days. It can last a little bit longer for the first time. But the more often you get it done, the less and less time it stays because your blood flow starts to improve and your circulation improves.
I think I've seen you do. You've done the scalings with cupping
I have.
a couple of times too, right?
Yeah.
And that's a really hard area for a lot of treatment practitioners to
It's
to
so
reach.
tough. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's actually a spot I'm going to get you to next time because they're
See,
really
yeah,
bad on me.
That's the one I want to do on a lot more people, but it just looks so weird when people have cup marks on the front of their neck.
Oh yeah, I don't care.
And it's just like, it's like the small ones, they can be like, oh, what'd you do last night, right? But like these big giant circles on your thing was like, what were you doing last
Fighting
night?
their vacuum, man.
Yeah.
What are you involved in? Yeah.
So how's that mid back doing? A little bit less there?
Yeah, it feels good.
Okay, sweet. And just focus on some nice deep breathing into your stomach here. And I hope you relax a bit better too. Just a few more minutes.
He's gonna sleep like a baby.
Good.
Yeah, yeah.
Bambo is asking, do you have any availability in this week? On top of that, where can people contact you in case they want to reach you or book an appointment?
Okay, is that off my Instagram?
Yes.
Okay, so if you're not following off my Instagram, go on my Instagram, King Krish. And there's a link in my bio. It's my website, and you can book online, so you can see all my availability, and you can either just sign in with Facebook or you can just put in your email address. And it's just one click step, and you can see whatever time is available, and you can book online that way.
Sweet.
I don't think I have availability this week. I'm usually booked a few weeks in advance, so unless someone cancels, then you can check and you would be able to get in. So.
Okay, cool.
So
Just check.
the clinic is Kin Consulting, and you can find it Google, Facebook, Instagram, everywhere.
Yeah.
We should probably pop it into the comments section. I'll probably do that. Did you? Thank you.
Sweet.
Good.
Hey.
She's on it.
Lucky, man. And yeah, it is by appointment only, so I don't take walk-ins and stuff like that. So. Alright, and just one more minute there. Areas that are super like white or not as red, they can be compromised blood flow where there's not. We want to get like this rose color kind of thing going where it's just nice blood going in there.
Right.
Areas that are really purple are a little bit tighter, and areas that don't have much going on at all could be just more matted down.
Okay.
So we're gonna start taking off the lower back, guys. This is an awesome feeling when the cups come off. So here comes this. You can see the pressure going.
Whoa. That's awesome.
This is sweet, man.
That's amazing.
So Christian, I'll get you to take these two off.
Me?
Yeah. So just hold here and then just press this black button there,
Sure.
and then just pull this little ring out.
Press this black button?
Oh no, just pull it up this right here. And you feel it. There you go.
Someone's gonna be getting off to this video.
Can I
later.
just pull?
Yeah. And then just pull it.
Oh, man.
I think the black thing you
His
just
name
fell
may or
into.
may not
Yep.
be Santa.
I don't know where it went.
You wrecked it.
I already did.
It's okay, each one's only like you in the belly.
He'll send you the bill.
Invoice will come in the mail.
Yeah.
These ones feel the best.
Send that to Keith. He's got a big visa.
How's that feeling there?
Oh, someone wants a close-up shot for this camera. I can get in here with this. I can do something.
No, you're the camera guy.
Alright, so just take a deep breath in. And out.
Check this
Any
camera.
pain as I go over here?
No pain now.
This is just some general kind of just bringing the body, just relaxing the muscles after the cups have been on. People that have had cupping for the first time, sometimes their body isn't used to it, so you feel like the cups are still on you. It takes a while for your body to fully realize that the treatment's over. But as the day goes on and the night goes on, your muscles start to fully realize what's happened and it starts to relax a lot. So
Yeah, I felt there was still like 2 on me, but I guess there wasn't.
yeah, no, exactly. So as the day goes on, you're gonna notice that your body just tends to like just kind of let go. Because of the environment we're into, where I'm talking and there's like people here, it's less relaxing almost. So your body's just gonna stay a little bit, not tight, but it's just gonna take a little bit longer for it to just fully shut off and relax.
We have Eat So Sweet. She's a baker. She says, "Yikes, does it hurt?" Chris, does it hurt?
Ask the client.
It does not hurt, no. It's
No,
just like a pinching.
It's like some tension, eh?
Yeah, in the beginning it's more like a pinch, like someone's pinching your skin. That's just your body like feeling that the cups are on for the first time. That pinching feeling goes away and it feels like a general pull after. And that can actually feel really nice in high tension areas. So I'll get you to slowly get up. You might feel a little bit lightheaded just because you were laying down for a bit there.
And I'll just remind everyone on Instagram, we've got a dynamic, stable camera on Facebook, and we actually have a moving camera
Move it
sometimes.
back around a
for
little bit.
Twitch.
A little relaxed, a little looser. Sweet. It's almost like he's like ready for bed.
Now.
Bedtime already.
Yeah. So that's just like a really intro. We didn't do much of the stretch and like pin and stretch kind of stuff that I do there, but a little bit more of the cupping and a little bit of the blading in there. So just a little. But the treatments are never like a one size fit all. It's always catered to where the person's tight and what we're trying to achieve. So sometimes I won't even do any cups or any blades, and it's all just pin and stretch if that's what the person needs. So it's never the same. So best bet if you are interested is just send a message. We can work through what's going on and then figure out what best treatment suits you.
For sure, yeah. And you, just so everyone gets an idea of the treatment times, like you vary between what treatments people choose, but
Yeah.
the initial treatment time is 70 minutes, I believe?
Yeah, so the initial is about 10 minutes of us talking, getting an idea of what's going to help you the best, getting a history, what you may have had that worked, what you might have had that hasn't worked, and then usually it's about 60 minutes of actual like treatment, which is usually a combination of stretch, blading, massage, whatever feels like is going to help the most.
Do you do like the full body, like the legs and stuff?
Full
too,
body,
and
everything. So I'll cup blade everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you have an extended time comprehensive treatment as well, because
Yeah.
that's what I'm booked in for, and where you do pretty much everything.
Everything, yeah. So I have a 90-minute treatment, and even then, like we'll hit like 4 or 5 big muscle groups in that. So
And that 90-minute treatment is unheard of. Like, nobody does
That's a long time,
that. You're putting in some hard work.
man, I've done a 3-hour treatment, and I will never do it again.
Really?
A guy came down from Kelowna, and he was like, "Fix me," and like he's come in before, and he's like, "Can only come in once every 2 to 3 months," and he had like awesome results, and he's like, "Can you just do everything?" He's like, "I'll pay for your lunch, your snacks, like whatever." He's like, "I want it."
Unreal.
It was actually set to be a 4-hour treatment, but 3 hours I guess. So I was like, I can't do anymore. We already hit everything in the body, so.
Yeah, there's only so much a body can handle.
You're
at
not
one
supposed
time.
to do longer than 2 hours because the body like can only take so much stress. So we did take a break and then we went to a new area, but still like I was done. I was like, I'm never doing this again. And like we were doing like stretch, so like he would be on the table, I'd be moving his legs around, doing all this. I'm sweating, like it's
Holy cow.
yeah, it was brutal. Yeah.
How was that for you, Chris?
It was good. It feels nice, relaxing right now. Like just loose.
It's starting to like that sensation starting to go away,
Yeah.
that tight one.
Yeah.
Sweet man.
This is my friend Chris McKay, everybody too. Thank you for coming out today.
Thanks for volunteering, man.
Yeah, thank you. I might be back again then.
Yeah. Awesome.
Good
Yeah.
review.
So we're gonna pretty much finish up here. Are there any questions
I have a
From-
personal question.
Hey.
You can choose not to answer it, but
Ooh.
it's about comfort. And how often do your clients pass gas?
That's awesome.
I actually thought about that when I was laying
You
there.
thought about
Yeah,
passing
yeah.
gas?
No, I'd be curious on
Oh,
if
curious
it has
about
it.
it. You know what? How often do they?
If they do, or have they, or what's your story?
That's not-
You don't have to.
I think it's happened like twice.
Oh,
and
really?
and that's not a lot. Like,
No.
honestly.
Yeah, that's very little.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I think you get so focused in on like what you're doing that you don't even notice anything else. Like you're just so focused on what you're doing. But like if it's bad enough, you'll notice. But it's just I mean, the industry is such where it's like that's like such a least concern. Like you don't worry about gas, you don't worry about hair. You just like you wouldn't be in this industry if that happened. Like, but I don't know. I don't really remember any cases of like large like a big like boom. You're like, oh shit. That was definitely you, bro. Like I don't remember. And if it happens, no big deal. Just laugh it off, right?
I believe Mike, one of the guys that works here.
Yeah, he
He's-
probably has.
Yeah, well, he's saying it's usually Krish, but he when he passes gas, but blames it on client.
Oh.
Yeah.
Those are fighting words.
So we're not gonna tag Mike in the comment description. No.
That's too funny. But yeah, I guess you would have. I mean, you've got people's feet, armpits. They're probably coming after work in some cases. So
Sometimes they come after workouts super sweaty.
Yeah, after a workout.
Yeah. Because I tell them they can't train after the session. So by the way,
Yeah.
don't do any heavy lifting after or anything strenuous because the muscle's fully relaxed. It's not used to this state. So it's actually easier to re-injure yourself the hours after a treatment. So then sometimes people will take that as like, hey, I'm gonna come right after I train, and then if they don't happen to shower, then it can be. For in that case, I have baby wipes.
Nice.
There you go.
Wipe yourself down.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
We're good.
Any last words? This is, by the way, this is our final show for this season. We're coming back in a couple of months after we revamp some things and do some new stuff. And I'm going to attempt to get better at video editing and sound editing and stuff like that for our YouTube page. But yeah, we'll be back in a couple months. So thank you, everybody, for joining us today on our season finale.
Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah,
This was awesome.
This
so
was
much fun.
This is one of the coolest things. Like, you're getting in there with the camera. This is the coolest thing
This is
that
so
we've
dope.
done so
Yeah.
far. This is just amazing. Thank you.
No, man,
so
thank
much.
you, man.
Yeah.
That was awesome. That was awesome.
And I'll be seeing you soon.
Sweet.
Lindsay has also seen you already.
Yo.
So,
All of you are coming in now.
Yeah, will.
Actually, yeah. How fast can you get us all done tonight? That'd be
All
great.
in one day. Let's go.
Cupping marathon.
This is
Yeah.
perfect timing because your phone just died.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
All right.
You got a shoulder.
All right, say bye,
Yeah,
Krish.
yeah.
Bye,
Bye.
TH. Bye. Facebook's gonna get a
Are you
special
showing
right now.
Ho, ho.
Special anatomy design. The anatomy of a Saiyan.
Is that off?
Just kidding, it's human.
Pretty close relative.
All right.
Probably more dense muscles.
Yeah, they probably have more dense muscles. This is Christian Garon signing off. GaronTime. Thank you.